Bangladesh emerged as an independent country in December 1971 and hence is young as a state, but its land, people, and culture are steeped in history. The cultural heritage of Bangladesh, reflecting the creative genius of the people, was enriched by the great civilization that flourished in the region for well over 2 millennia. After the advent of Islam in the South Asian subcontinent, the various art forms that flowered in Bangladesh bore the deep imprint of Islam. The convergence of the leaders of the Islamic countries in Dhaka from far-flung parts of the world for the 14th Islamic Conference of Foreign Ministers was considered a fitting occasion to introduce them to the Islamic heritage of Bangladesh. Accordingly, the Bangladesh National Museum assembled an exhibition of Islamic art and crafts on 6 December 1983 in the newly inaugurated building of the museum, and also launched launched a project for the production of a well documented and well illustrated volume on the Islamic art heritage of Bangladesh. Dr. Enamul Haq, the Director General of the museum, undertook the task Dr. Enamul Haq, the Director General of the museum, undertook the task of preparing and producing this volume. It redounds very much to his credit that despite the many demands on his time in the present stage of development of the museum, he has, through his painstaking efforts, succeeded in accomplishing this arduous task within a short span of time. The product is a book of art and history combined in one, covering a wide variety of art forms such as architecture, manuscript, calligraphy, metalwork, woodwork, ivory work, textiles, paintings, ceramics, etc. The volume contains nearly 200 plates, most of them in color, and in perhaps the first of its kind to be published in Bangladesh, the author's concise, crisp, and scholarly introduction has added to the value of the volume. I sincerely hope that both as an introduction to the Islamic heritage of Bangladesh and also as a reference book, art lovers, scholars, historians, and others will find this volume interesting, enjoyable, and useful. The growth of a nation's culture heritage is a complex, continuous, and dynamic process. As a product, as well as a mirror of the mind of the people, the cultural heritage of a nation is a unique record of its history and also an integral part of the universal heritage of mankind. The creative works of art are among the most valued treasures of this heritage. Their universal language and appeal also endow them with the role of an easily intelligible means of international communication and understanding. I therefore hope that the present volume will be of interest equally to the member states of the Organization of Islamic Conference and others. I would like to conclude on the hopeful note that this timely and commendable contribution of Dr. Enamul Haq will be followed by another scholarly work on the rich cultural heritage of Bangladesh. Muhammad Shamsul Haq, Chairman, Board of Trustees, Bangladesh National Museum, Dhaka, 9th December 1983. Preface. Islam unites nearly a fifth of the world's population, transcending their enormous diversities of race, nation, and political ideologies. But the Islamic art heritage is shared and enjoyed by the entire humanity. Bangladesh, having the distinction of nourishing the highest density of Muslims per square mile in the world, has been known for its colorful contribution in the wide spectrum of Islamic arts and crafts. The Muslim artists and craftsmen who created this legacy were both synthesizers of earlier ancient cultures and brilliant innovators of intellectual achievements. In the pages which follow, an attempt has been made to present a random selection of the principal documentations of the Islamic art heritage of Bangladesh. An exclusive compilation would, in any case, is nearly impossible in a single volume. This book is not aimed to be penetrating study or anything like history of art of Islam in this region. One may look at it as a modest introduction to one of the many facets of Islam in Bangladesh, that of the mosaic of arts, the import of creation, of which would not have been taken place unless the Muslim minds and hands were actively involved. During more than 600 years, from the 13th to the 18th centuries AD, Bangladesh had been either an independent sultanate or a province of successive subcontinental empires. What is now the culture of Bangladesh is largely the product of the creative genius of its people under the patronage of Muslim rulers. Such patronage of the ruling class to arts and crafts, encouragement to trade and commerce, and liberal appreciation of poets, builders, scholars, and divines made Bangladesh a terminal point for many travelers and fortune hunters. The prosperity of the place, together with receptive attitude of its people to mendacious and mystic, attracted a large number of savants, Sufi saints, Magdums, and attracted a large number of savants and dervishes who let me read that again. The prosperity of the place, together with a uh, receptive attitude of its people to mendicants and mystics, attracted a large number of savants, Sufi saints, Magdums, and dervishes who established all over Bangladesh innumerable maktabs, madrasas, khankas, etc., as well as caused the creation of many mosques and mausoleas. Over the centuries, Bangladesh continued to receive new stimulants and concepts brought along with the batches of new immigrants from Western and Central Asia, thereby continuously enriching its cultural heritage. The present volume is presented on the occasion of 14th Islamic Conference of Foreign Ministers being held at Dhaka from 6 to 10 December 1983. This gave us an opportunity to produce a volume on the Islamic monuments and historic works of arts created or patronized by Muslims of this country. Many of the items included here originated outside Bangladesh, coming from the wide world of Islam. Together with the monuments, these art objects largely represent the multi regional aspect of Islamic art heritage. They reveal a multiplicity of styles and idioms, often interacting simultaneously. The subject received special attention in Bangladesh when a special exhibition of Islamic art in Bangladesh was arranged by the Dhaka Museum, the predecessors of Bangladesh National Museum in 1978. The descriptive catalogue published on the occasion by the author was well received within the scholarly community. A similar month long special exhibition has been arranged on 6 December in 1983. The new building of the Bangladesh National Museum, with addition of the new materials, a new catalog has also been published. I have freely used contents of my previous writings on this subject in the present volume. The production of the book has been possible due to a grant made by the government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, but the time allowed for the preparation of this volume was extremely inadequate, and this fact alone largely uh, determined the scope and nature of the presentation. However, effort have been made to include as many items as possible, along with the illustrations and brief descriptions to depict the range of art heritage as manifested through architecture, inscription, manuscript, calligraphy, documents, coins, woodworks, metalworks, ivory works, arms, jewelry, ceramics, paintings, textile, etc. It is reasonably expected that by pursuing these objects with some amount of imagination, the expanse of history may be bridged and the force that Islam wielded in the creativity of its votaries in Bangladesh may be more readily appreciated. The necessary of a publication such as this was long overdue, and it is hoped that the readers would find the present volume useful for having a glimpse and at least a cursory understanding of the treasures belonging to the Islamic art heritage of Bangladesh. A large number of the illustrations have been included in this volume which are previously unpublished. Also, new aspects have been highlighted of known items and photographs of unusual views presented. Although the general aim had been to reach the ordinary readers, the scholars may as well as find ample materials useful for their further study. I'm grateful to Professor Muhammad Shamsul Haq I'm grateful to Professor Muhammad Shamsul Haq, Chairman of the Board of Trustee of Bangladesh National Museum, for kindly agreeing to write the foreword for this book and giving consent encouragement for its completion. I thank Mr. Muhammad Afsarudullah, Acting Secretary, Sports and Culture Division, for making it easier to solve many a mundane problem in connection with the publication program. It is my pleasure to record the valuable cooperation I have received from various individuals and institutions, particularly from the colleagues in the Bangladesh National Museum. Thanks are especially due to Mr. Abdus Sadek, senior photographer, for arrangement of the photographs and transparencies used in this volume, many of which were taken by him at a great pains. Mr. Mohammad Mohsin, display officer, gave all the time demanded of him in the supervision of the production. Mr. Muhammad Nizamuddin, keeper, and Anwarul Haq and Begum Al Wardfil Akman, keepers, deputy keepers, Mr. Shahabuddin, administrative officer, and Mr. Abu Yunis, publication assistant, were never failing to in giving assistance asked of them. The Department of Archaeology, Government of Bangladesh, kindly supplied some old photographs and plans of monuments which have subsequently been extensively renovated. I should also thank my wife, Professor Julekha Haq, for offering criticism and suggestions in the preparations of manuscript, and also for lending a few transparencies previously unpublished and earmarked for her book Jewelry of Bangladesh. Thanks are due to painter Kayum Chaudhuri and Ghazi Shahabuddin of MS Katakhali printers for their encouraging cooperation. But no encouragement is complete without mentioning my debt to the earlier scholars in the field. Their contribution has always inspired me to go many of the inaccessible monuments in the remote corners of the country, as well as study invaluable art objects preserved in the museum. 9th December 1983, Enamel Hawk. List of illustrations. Shahid Gambuz Mosque, the view east. All right, we are we are not going to read all these details. There are many pages of details. This is the map of the archaeological heritages. These are very valuable. You might say that $1 trillion values they have because of their importance, because they are very old, around 400 years old. If you go to these places, for example, if you go to this Buddhist temple called in Paharpur, you will see some amazing monumental. This building was erected maybe around at least 1,000 years ago or even more. But if you go there, you will see the small bricks. I think you could find thousands of pieces of gold or millions of tons of gold these days, but you cannot get the valuable statues and the structure of this building. If you look at the structure of the building, you will go to the past and you will feel the importance of this place by many folds. And one of the most, I think the most valuable, according to me, the most valuable piece of treasures which Bangladesh have is that built by the Mughals. They were trillionaires. I mean, Akbar the Great was a trillionaire. Aurangzeb the Great was a trillionaire, but he lived a very what you might call a life of giving to other people. He, according in his time, in Aurangzeb's time, he actually lived. He used to live by. He used to earn his living not by being an emperor, but being a copier of the Holy Quran, and he was a very generous man. Okay, and in his ruling period, the Lalbagh Fort, as well as some very important forts like Idrakpur Fort, Hajiganj Fort, and many mosques like Shad Gambuz Mosque or the Seven Dome Mosque, a very beautiful mosque. It was built in Dhaka city, as well as I think the most monumental of the most valuable pieces of architecture that we have in Dhaka city. If I had $1 trillion, I would buy that for sure. I would buy the Lal Bagh Fort, and there are legends that there are very valuable pieces of treasures there, but they have been undiscovered. But and the two of the establishments are now being lost, which are Boro Katra and Choto Katra. I think Boro Katra was a around $200 million house built by Shah Shuja, and now if you go there, you will be very much disappointed because people have destroyed this structure very brutally. I have a dream. If I one day become quadrillionaire, I know a lot of the elites you could serve through the YouTube. If you have money, if I had money, I could preserve those archaeological heritages, because I'm very much interested in saving the past. I mean, if you could think about the Indus civilization, but I think Bangladesh has been very important, and but it's people, they're peaceful people, but the valuable architectural items which we have, I think they are most valuable. If they could have been preserved, and if you could see them, you would feel that all the things that you achieve. I mean, you could have thousands of kilograms of gold. Gold is not as valuable as the old works of the people. They're being destroyed in our country. If I had money, I would buy and individualize, and I would make museums. And if I could make museums, I could earn billions from that, because these are very beautiful places. Because if you go to Lal Bagh Fort, it will change your mind forever. And I think another monumental structure is situated in Nawabganj called the Soto Shona Masjid, or the small Golden Dome Mosque. There was a mosque here, a beautiful mosque. And as you know, mosques are prayer halls for the Muslim people. But we Muslim people, we don't think that we are actually Muslims. We are actually, you might say that Christians, Muslims, and Jews, they are of the same religion. We are all Abrahamic religion people, and we always from the very beginning of our childhood grown up that Abraham was a very great man, and he is the founder of all the religion, because Islam and Judaism and all the religions of the world, which was a very generous, which made people generous. It was derived from Abrahamic religion. So Islam is nothing other than what you might call the true Christianity, or the advanced Christianity, or advanced Judaism. So all the Muslims are actually Jews and Christians. You might say that. I think in that way they're the same people, because we are all are Abrahamic people. I mean, if you think about the Rothschild or whatever, the people who are ruling the world, I mean, subconsciously they're ruling the world, but they themselves are of this heritage of Abrahamic families. And I think this heritage should be preserved. And people who follow these religions, we're of the same religion, we're of the same. One day we believe that we will be together. And all our arts and cultures, all the structures that you see, they say the same thing, that we got to be united, we got to be happy together. It's true that there should be competition, there should be a competition for good, a capitalism for good. That's good. If you see these structures, amazingly beautiful structures. I bought this book with the tuition money which I had. And it makes me feel so good to see this structure. If you see this structure, these are very valuable pieces. 600-year old mosque, prayer hall. Okay, if you are a Jew or if you are a Muslim, whatever your religion is, whatever your religious faith is, if you are a Buddhist, it doesn't matter. This is a prayer hall where Muslim people go for meditation 5 times a day. And we actually don't stay in the world, because you're not going to stay in this world forever. So you got to be, you will be transferred to another world. Okay, that's what we believe. And once you transferred, so you got to have a detachment from the world that you live in. So Muslims build up this amazing prayer halls. And if you are a king, or if you're a trillionaire, you got to pray with a fakir or a poor man. You don't have, there is no discrimination in Islam if you are economically different. Okay, because spiritually we are the same, we're created by the same God. Okay, so that's what the most important part of it. And one of the important thing that draws my attention, a lot of the mosques and also the mausoleums or the tomb sites, the grave sites of the old people, is that time takes away. If you are a billionaire or quadrillionaire, whatever you are, you will be washed away by time. You will not exist forever. So that's why I think these archaeological sites are of importance, because it tells you a significant truth about yourself. It's true that you need growth, you need to have money, you need to have influence over people. That's a great thing to achieve, but what if you achieve the whole world and you lose your soul? Okay, so that's something you got to be aware of. This mosque is around 700 years old, I guess. Yes, almost 600, 700 years old mosque. Small. Once these domes were gold gilded, and now they are in ruins. This gold gilt were taken away by people. And this all these amazing architectural sites, they're more valuable than $1 billion or $1 trillion. Okay, these items should be preserved for the future generation, so that they could see how beautiful these places are. And if you are a Muslim or Buddhist or Jew, one of the most amazing fun of praying here is that you are praying in a place 600, 500-year old. You'll feel very much, you'll feel like all the old peoples who came before you, and they have now gone away. One day you will go away too. Okay, so this mosque is of very significant importance. Okay, all right, now let us see. This is another photo of this beautiful mosque called Small Golden Dome Mosque. This is located in Nawabganj of Bangladesh. If you have opportunity, if you are a foreigner, you could pay a visit there. This is beautiful monuments.